Thanks for loading up this short technical insights video. In this video we're going to look at stock chart patterns, and in particular the double top stock chart pattern as exemplified by the current chart for BSFA. Hope you find it useful. When people use technical analysis, they'll use a variety of techniques. One technique that they may use is an analysis of visible patterns. In previous videos for seeing machines, for example, we've talked about the pattern called the Big M. In this example, we're using a pattern that is very recognizable, where there are two significant peaks, and that's called a double top, where prices spike to a high point and then drop off. The tops can be narrow or rounded, and if they're narrow they're called Adams, and if they're rounded they're called eaves. If those patterns are visible, and typically they're separated by a few months, as they are here, you can see. Typically there's volume on each peak, as you can see here. There's significant volume, and then it drops off after each time. And then depending upon what happens after the two peaks are confirmed if price drops below what's called a confirmation line. And here's a confirmation line. This was the sort of the bottom of that red candle. And if we extend that outwards, we see that price has dropped below that point, confirming the double top. So traders who saw this double top probably would have taken a short position around this point, which explains this big drop on BSFA. Typically there are pullbacks whenever something drops below a trend line. A confirmation line is a type of trend. There'll be a pullback, and then people continue to trade it until the momentum has shifted, i.e. in this instance sales are confirmed by BSFA. In the meantime, people think that things may get better and they push the price back up, but you can see it's gone back up 3 times and it hasn't yet crossed the confirmation line. Each time it's reached that confirmation line has acted as resistance. We've got 2 other trend lines here which are significant for BSFA. We've got higher highs, or shall we say, sorry, lower highs each time round, and now it's breached that. So we've got a little breakout. Breakouts don't necessarily last. Sometimes they break out, as this one did here, and then they come back in. So until we see this particular breakout breaking this second trend line, the confirmation line, I don't think there's a buying signal as yet. There's just not enough information. In the meantime, we've also got lower lows, and it's well possible that this breakout could drop back down to the lower low. So here we've also got a price gap. You can see here where there was a huge spike in volume, and this gap here, albeit it's significantly below, 50% below the current share price, it's still a gap. With AIM stocks where there's very little liquidity, sometimes those gaps get filled. Not always, and we've got a separate video about gaps. Have a look at that if you have time. So bottom line, what do we have? We've got a very recognizable pattern. It was a double top, characterized by, in this instance, an Adam and Eve. Sometimes you can have Adams and Adams, Eves and Eves, it depends. But if it breaches the confirmation line, that's bearish. It has breached the confirmation line. It's tried to reach to breach that confirmation line 3 separate times, hasn't yet done so. It has broken the trend of lower highs for the meantime, and if it continues to do so and it breaches its confirmation line, it's at that point, possibly around 1440, that you'd have a signal that says that this is the time to get back in to BSFA. And possibly you might even go just wait for that confirmation to be tested a little bit, because normally when you break a confirmation line, it'll go above, it'll retest it, as it's done here, and then if it continues upwards, then you've certainly got a confirmed signal. Anyway, there we have it. The double top, in this instance an Adam and Eve with BSFA. So until it breaches that confirmation line, we really don't have enough information from technical analysis to decide whether or not we should go long. And at this time, it's very unclear whether or not you should go short, because it may, having breached this downward trend line, continue upwards. So I would hold up for the meantime and keep hold of your cash. Hope that's been helpful. Just to reiterate, reading stock charts is just one technique in technical analysis, and indeed in stock charts there are, at least in the manuals I use, at least getting on for 100 different types of charts that you could recognize. That's one of the things that you need to be able to do in TA. But some are more popular than others, and double tops certainly are one of those. To find out more, don't forget to look at LTAG.uk. Thanks a lot. See you next time.